Today is the anniversary of 9/11, and it's important that we never forget that shit ain't go down how they say it went down. Not at all, not even a little bit. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I damn sure got some questions. Like, for example, why did Netanyahu write a book in 1995 saying that if the West doesn't wake up to radical Islam, then radical Islamic extremists are going to specifically attack the World Trade Center?
In the 1990s, and I said that the West really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
Bro, there are so many buildings in the United States. There are so many buildings in New York. There are so many monuments in the Western world. But you specifically pointed out the World Trade Center. Then there's that whole situation with the dancing Israelis, where multiple Israelis were caught dancing seemingly in celebration and then subsequently arrested, 2 of them being Mossad operatives. Right after the World Trade Center was hit. And then there's the lucky Larry Silverstein situation, where he never stops reminding us how very, very, very lucky he was to have bought the Twin Towers, had a dermatology appointment that very same day where the Twin Towers were hit, and then just so happened to be really good friends with the mayor, who ensured that he collected on that $4 billion insurance policy.
I had the pleasure of working pretty much with every prime minister of Israel. I said to myself, wouldn't it be fantastic if I could own the Twin Towers? We got very, very lucky. The governor of New York, George Pataki, decided one day that maybe it would be good to privatize the ownership of the World Trade Center. So I got a call from the governor's office, and they said, would you ever consider owning the World Trade Center? It was very, very good for the family, very good for us, and we were very, very fortunate. On the morning of 9/11, I'm getting ready, getting dressed to go to the dermatologist. She said, okay, but you're going to the dermatologist, you're going this morning, and you're not going downtown. We got very, very lucky. I had an obligation to collect the insurance proceeds from the policies. A new governor was just elected, Elliot Spitzer, an old friend who I knew well. And guess what? And he said, you know what? You're entitled. I'm going to get you the money. And in 6 months, he got me the $4.5 billion. We got very, very lucky.
Now, I know Larry's Jewish, but that seems like the kind of luck that only Irish blood can bring. I mean, a dermatology appointment away from being dead and a convenient terrorist attack away from being a multi-billionaire. Just, wow. That's, man, hey, pass me the clover. Or how about the fact that families of victims of 9/11 have been suing for years now over the fact that Saudi Arabia clearly helped the hijackers. Now let me explain to you why that's significant. If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, we went into Afghanistan and massacred their population. Got a lot of opioids out of that, by the way. We went into Iraq and massacred that population and overthrew Saddam. And because the United States helped to create Al-Qaeda and drafted Osama bin Laden into their intelligent asset community, they knew Osama bin Laden was Saudi Arabian, and yet we never mentioned a single time that we were even considering invading Saudi Arabia, nor Pakistan, where we ultimately found Osama bin Laden. Oh, let's not forget the fact that for some reason George W. Bush was in Sarasota, Florida during the attacks, just by coincidence. And speaking of Washington, D.C., we still looking for pieces of the plane that supposedly hit the Pentagon. But I tell you what, we ain't find all of the files that were stocked in a very specific area that was about to be audited.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
2.3 trillion with a T.
I mean, yeah, that's a big ass boom. But that's a big ass boom with no big ass plane, which is leaving me big ass confused. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, do I have all the answers? No. But I'm just saying the math is not mathing. Arithmetically speaking, we got a lot of questions and no one really wants to seem to answer them. And in my experience, when the world has questions that the US government doesn't want answered, it's because the US government is somehow, some way directly involved, them and their little buddy over there in the Middle East. But hey, you be the judge. I'm just the guy talking in front of a camera, trying to figure out why Israelis were dancing in celebration after the Twin Towers were hit. That's all don't take my word for it.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.